Thanks for joining the Alaska Ocean Acidification Network's Ask a Scientist series. This series answers questions from real people like you with the help of ocean acidification experts from the network. Our guest today is Bob Foy. Bob is the director of the NOAA laboratory in Kodiak and is a marine biologist who studies the effect of ocean acidification on crab. And the question today is, are we seeing impacts from ocean acidification on species in Alaska waters right now?
Hi, Darcy. Thank you. That is a great question. Many people are asking us whether or not we're seeing ocean acidification affecting marine organisms yet in Alaska. And the short answer is no. We have not found any significant responses from any marine organisms in the wild to the initial onset of ocean acidification in Alaska. This is mostly because we're only beginning to look for those signs of ocean acidification in Alaska. This past summer, we collected some data on snow crab from the whole Bering Sea and Chukchi Sea so that we can assess whether or not there's a change in the shells. We're going to have some of those results done in this fall, and we're also going to have a survey plan for 2019 to collect data both on the ocean chemistry and on the animals at the same time. So that'll tell us whether or not there are any changes that are related. In the Oregon and Washington region, we know that there has been some data that has shown that ocean acidification is changing the shells of pteropods, for instance. And pteropods are a really important food item for salmon. And that work is going to be continuing in Alaska. So we hope to have more information on whether or not there are any responses in Alaska currently occurring.
What types of impacts would you expect to see?
There's two ways in particular that a marine organism may be affected. One is behaviorally and one is physically. First, ocean acidification is a decrease in pH. That decrease in pH may affect the ability of a marine organism to regulate its own internal pH. This can affect an organism's behavior, for instance. Second is the chemical reaction that's caused by ocean acidification, which makes it more difficult for animals to build their shells and to add calcium. So we might see a change or a decrease in the calcification in those types of animals. We've conducted laboratory studies that have shown that ocean acidification decreases the survival and the growth of some crab species. Some roundfish studies that have been done on pollock and cod have shown that there were not any immediate changes in their survival or growth, but some of the flatfish studies have shown that there are changes in behavior. So it's a complex reaction to ocean acidification that we still need to study. We can predict what we might see once ocean acidification increases in Alaskan waters in the next 50 years. For shell-building animals, those that are sensitive to acidification may see changes in survival at young ages, which affects the number of adults. In animals where behavior is affected, we may see changes in their ability to find prey, for instance. A larger unknown is how all of these changes will work together to affect the overall ecosystem. And those species that are especially important to us economically or ecologically.
So are there challenges involved with trying to track impacts to species in the wild?
Tracking the effects of ocean acidification is very challenging. First, we need to find out how an organism might be affected. Many of those studies on Alaskan species are currently happening at the NOAA Fisheries Laboratories in Juneau, Kodiak, Newport, and at the University of Alaska. Second, we need to collect baseline data from animals in the ocean now so that we can compare to what we're seeing with the ocean chemistry right now. It's important that we also take into account natural processes that are already occurring in the ocean so that we don't confuse changes associated with ocean acidification with what's already happening. Because of the processes that are already happening and the fact that we do have animals living in those conditions, it's possible that we have hope that some species will acclimate or adapt to ocean acidification. Many marine organisms that already live in deep waters, for instance, have lower pH, and therefore there is hope for other organisms as the pH decreases. The difficult question is, will organisms be able to acclimate fast enough to meet the changes that are happening so quickly in Alaska due to ocean acidification?
Thank you, Bob, and thank you to all the listeners out there. We encourage you to check out the Alaska Ocean Acidification Network website and also send in your questions that could be answered during a future episode.